please.
I was just out the door.
I know, luckily I stopped you.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning, my love.
What's all this?
This is your breakfast this week, courtesy of our sponsors, Y-Foods.
No way, that's so cool.
It is really cool, because this is going to solve a lot of problems for us.
Oh, yeah?
This guy, straight out the door, skips breakfast nearly all the time.
Every day.
Every day. And he ends up getting a bit hungry.
A little angry.
Yeah.
Lunchtime, spanners.
Oh, this is going to fix that, babes, because this is a smart food.
And what is a smart food?
A smart food is a complete, nutritionally balanced meal in a bottle.
Oh.
Yes.
It looks like it's got 26 vitamins and minerals, high in protein and fibre. It's also lactose and gluten free.
It certainly is, and because it's high in protein, it's going to keep you full for hours.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It is. So that is breakfast grab and go for you.
Who doesn't like a grab and go? Eh?
Now you've got a choice of some flavours, mister. Classy choco, smooth vanilla, cold brew coffee, crazy coconut, or happy banana.
Happy banana.
That's my personal favourite.
And these are grab and go.
Grab and go.
Right, I'm off. See you later, guys.
Oh, don't forget, if you get a bit hungry mid-morning, you've got a little snack bar. Enjoy your breakfast.
Bye. Bye.
Right, guys. Discount code for Y-Foods, and the link is in the description. Go and check them out. But for now, back to the workshop.
I think today we're going to finish up this axle build. We finally have the wheel bearings. Yes, well done, sniffing them out, Rusty. We finally have the wheel bearings which we were waiting for. So we can change the bearings on the half shafts, get them in, but before we get them in we need to put the dust covers on, then get the half shafts in and get all assembled, maybe press in some other bushes. Yeah, and make this axle ready to go under Monica. I was looking at pictures of Monica the other day and it has come a long way from the poor old rusty car that came into the workshop. We've got a few holes to weld up. That's the rear windscreen pack welded in. And I'm going to grind all this nice and smooth and then...
Oh dear. What happened last night?
Right, enough nostalgia. Let's get some bearings in, see if we can't get a little bit closer to having this car on the road. Right guys, as you can tell, I had to grind off the bearings. Okay to do that as long as you're careful, try not to nick the shaft. That's a bad plan. I've also sandblasted and given this a very thin coat of satin black just to make it look pretty for now. I know no one's ever going to see it, but we're looking at it when we're putting it together, aren't we? So, wheel bearing time. As you can see, this one is done and on and looking spiffing. So, let's squeeze the next wheel bearing in place. Right, so we are on it. We are on it. That bearing pushed in beautifully. I have replaced the seals in there. I'm going to give it a little tickle of grease around this face here, just in case any, just to stop any moisture getting in there. And if it got into there, it would start corroding everything. And we've worked fairly hard on this car not to get a bit of grease in there. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Anyway, bit of grease on these lovely bolts too. Yes, because you'd be an idiot not to grease bolts, in my opinion. So, as you can see, all of these parts have been lovingly reconditioned, meaning they have been in the sandblaster and they have been painted silver. Ooh, it is nice and clean. This shaft needs a bit slicing off. Yeah, so the seal's not going in. Yeah, so the seal went in just a tiny bit, so it just needs 6mm cutting off the end of the shaft. No big deal. I have cut a bit off. I tried to get it in the lathe, but it was slightly too short to go through the back of the stock into the lathe, so no lathing. But grindering, definitely grindering. Yeah, cut it off, beauty. I just realised that I forgot to grease the other side. We've got this lovely high temperature grease here. I'm going to pack some of that into here, both sides of the seal. Although the bearings were pre-greased, there's nothing like adding a bit more grease, is there? Right in there. Yeah, a bit on the top of the bearing as well, why not? Not going to hurt nothing, is it? Right, let's see if we can get this located. Beautiful. Oh, did you hear that fart? Didn't know axles could fart, did you? Right, so bush pressing. If you look at this bush, you will see a little triangle there. That little triangle needs to face downwards, so this bush needs to go in like that. There's also like a lump in it. It's like a directional thing. So we'll have to push it in that way as well. Right, let's just check that. Is this one out by 5mm? Yeah, it is. Good. Diff cover. I do have the aluminium one for this pickup here. When the time comes when I need to put this sensor in, I'll use the aluminium cover, but for now this steel one fits and I've no need for that. So let's just take this old gasket off because it's probably been in there since the car was new. Oh, it's coming off nice as well. Look at that, that was beautiful. And this gasket came from Brookhouse Volvo, so thanks again guys for sorting us out with some stuff. Plop. Nope. Plop. Yes. Here we go. Oof. Right guys, brake parts, brake calipers, brake shoes, brake things, some weird bits that do this. That's weird. Anyway, they've all got to be assembled here. And they can't just be chucked on, they've got to go in a certain way. So, to start with, I forgot to put these on when I put the backing plate on. Duh. So we'll be taking the backing plate off and then actually physically torquing it up, where we left it loose last time, which is a good thing because we do have to take it off again. So let's whip that off and put the into those, I think they're called shoe springs? No, those are the bits that hold shoes together. Shoe clamps, maybe? I don't know. Anywho, they go in here. Like this. One there. On the t'other side. There we go. 50 Newton meters is where I am aiming for torquing. Handbrake mechanism. It all relies on this tiny little pin here. 6mm diameter, 8mm long, and it slots into there, and then that's held in place by the clamp itself, or the mechanism itself. I thought it was a bit weird at first because it just slides out so easily, but then it doesn't really go anywhere. Once it's in there, it physically can't come out. And if you want to know why I know the dimensions, it's because I lost the first one. Now this fits in here, and that's okay. I'm just going to get it around there, behind that shoe, and behind that shoe, and right, we're halfway there. Now we just got to get this one on, this little springy spring here. He is a little bit of a bugger sometimes. So you can hook onto your spring. I think you're supposed to use leverage of that to pull it to the right place, but you just can't get it in the right place if you do that. This spring is particularly strong compared to the other side. Feels a bit like this tool is left-handed. Bad workman blazes tools, guys. Right, got the spring hooked on. I'm just going to give it a little pop to pop it in. Right, fiddly springs. Nobody likes the springs, but that's the handbrake shoes in 100%. Everything is all hooked up, everything is perfect. So next, the disc. We have splashed out for Brembo discs, yeah, because Brembo make good brakes. Don't put that on your phone. Should be better. There we go. Beautiful. Right, let's get the caliper on. Oh, that's the wrong way. Right, they do need torquing up. They need torquing up, and these need torquing up. It's going to be hard to do that with the axle free floating, so I'm just going to put a little label on them, mark them up, and just say, torque me later. Brake lined. We have got to set up and make some brake lines, some hard lines to go from the calipers down through, up and over there, and to these locations here. let's do that. Excuse me. Right, so brake lines. I'll show you now, by the magic of editing, that I've already done the complicated side of the brake line just to get my eye in. I haven't done brake lines for a little while, and I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. So that was the one I replaced. Man, don't even know what shape you'd call that. Wiggly. So we need to make the easier side, which is the passenger side. Yes, passenger side brake line. It's only about yay long. It's only going to have a couple of bends in it, but at least I can run through the procedures with you and show you what we do and stuff like that. So, start with, we got this lovely brake line. I will put at the bottom of the screen what this is, because my brain can't remember what that is. It's not just copper, it's a special mix of materials, because I heard that copper lines can get brittle and snap or explode. I went through all of this with E30. I did all of my brake lines in copper, and then read that they're prone to exploding, and I just took them all off and redid them with this stuff. Anyway, we got some nice new fittings here. We've got brake line here. Let's do it. Let's do it. So to start with, this thing is great. This thing, you could just get your tube in like that, and you pull it out, and it comes out straight. Wicked. So we don't need anywhere near like that, but I'd rather too much than too little. So we'll cut this, just a general, like a copper plumbing pipe cutter. This is quite a little one. Just roll it around, tighten it up every time you go around. Gently, don't force it too much. And eventually it'll cut through. Like that. And then deburr the hole, because you don't want your system full of burrs. Do ya? No, you don't. I'll try and get as many of these tools that I use up on Amazon, in the description, as much as I can anyway. Right, we got that. Next we need one of these, and then we need to go to the bench to put the flare on the end. That's the fun bit. Right, this is our old flaring tool. It's a proper old bit of kit, but it does a really nice job. Basically, you get your brake pipe, you clamp it in these little clampies here, and there's different sizes. You clamp that brake pipe in there. Oh, more thumbs. Come on. And you have it so it's just sticking out by about 1 millimeter. Put that in there, clamp that down, and then this piece here will push into there and it will create the flare. Lock it in and flare it. Oh yeah, that is a lovely flare. Look at that. Perfect. Little bendy tool, very handy. I think you have to have a master's degree to figure out how it works sometimes, but you put the pipe in there and you clamp it over with this, and it does a really nice bend. You can go all the way around to 180. Sometimes it doesn't do quite a tight enough bend, and you have to like use a socket or something, but it does a beautiful job. Look at that. So this is just a dirt cheap bendy tool from anywhere really. It's just great. It's great. I think we need a 90 degrees straight off the bat, so I want it to be quite tight, because this is where the pipe needs to go. It needs to come straight into a 90. It wants to be a very tight one. On the other side, I had to go into a 45 and then a 90 to avoid touching that, because MOT people don't like it when the brake lines touch. So I'm going to lock it in just to there, and I'm going to pull it around to 90 degrees when the 0 reads 90-ish. And there we go. That's our first attempt at getting this brake line correct. Let's just see. Yeah, as I thought, just a little bit too tight. Only fractionally. It's just a little too close to the axle, that's all I'm saying. It could with being just a little bit further away. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this to the bench and I'm going to put a little 45 in just between here and here. I can't do that with a machine, I have to do it in the bench. As you can see, I put a little bit very tight just to there. So now when it goes in there, it goes upwards and away from the axle. We need to put a little wiggle in it just of here, because I could just clip that in there. Job's a good one, everyone would be happy, but it's not running parallel with the axle. And I'd like it if it would run nice and parallel with the axle, because it would look better. We don't want much of a wiggle. 45. Yeah. There we go. Just a little step up. Hopefully I haven't gone too far with it. A bit like that. There we are. What a cool shape. Let's make sure it fits. So, let's thread that into there. Click that into there. That looking really nice. And there we go. That is the brake lines on the 240 axle done. So guys, that will conclude our axle build. This bad boy is now ready to go in the car. Yeah, I've got some torquing up to do, but that's going to be easier once it's on the car. These all have to be torqued up too, but it looks really nice, doesn't it? I mean, it is. This is all brand new here. This is all brand new here. It's got a really nice locker diff in it. It's got new bushes. It's all been repainted. It's got new nuts and bolts everywhere. It couldn't want for anything more, could it really? Yeah, very happy with that. I hope it will do many, many, many miles. So, bit of B-roll and then ciao.
From the other side, and I don't know about you, but I got butterflies. Damn, I don't got game, but I feel you would like to play. So I pass go and I collect 200 on the way. I know I probably jumped too many spaces, but you can't be replaced. You're a superstar, and I can feel you in my arms. Move to